Lexi Ellingsworth, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. We've been in touch for some time, actually, and it's a topic that is a little bit different to what we normally talk about. But after speaking to you, I was like, oh, wow, this is completely insane. And it's something, whatever side you're on, we have to be able to talk about it at least. So first, I want to start with asking you about the celebrities, the elites, the people in charge who are not having babies themselves. What's actually going on?
So a lot of celebrities have been having other women have babies for them for quite some time. So Sarah Jessica Parker was probably one of the first. Her and her husband, obviously Matthew Broderick, had a woman in Ohio have twins actually for them. And whether that started the celebrity culture or not, but there's definitely been a sort of uptick. There's been a lot of people who since then have had women have babies for them. So Lucy Liu once famously, sort of fairly flippantly, I think, referred to her son as a lump of flesh because he was sort of like uninteresting as a baby and became more interesting as he grew. She had a surrogate mother have the son for her. Also, I mean, there's just so many. So Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. There's also been Rebel Wilson has had a child through surrogacy fairly recently. There's also been Elizabeth Banks and her husband. Yeah. And there have been just so many to name. But I mean, Naomi Campbell is another, Cameron Diaz and her husband, Benji Madden. Okay. There's just sort of like lots and lots of people are sort of having this as almost like a trend. And then obviously it comes over into people who aren't, necessarily of that level of wealth. So it's, a very large scale industry. It's about 194 billion. It's expected to reach that sort of level in about 10 years' time.
In dollars or something?
In dollars, yeah, across the world, yeah. So just under 200 billion.
How do we even know, like celebrities, are they sort of flaunting this, or is it just the fact that they've got a baby and they never had a bump?
So I think it's a number of things. So Juliana and Bill Rancic, I don't know if you've heard of the name, but they met live on TV. She was an ETV correspondent, presenter, and they met, and she had breast cancer. And so she obviously went through treatment, and they had a boy born from a surrogate mother. And it was documented on a reality TV show. I remember when they asked the surrogate mother if she would do it again, and how it was obviously shown on TV and she was filmed with that question being presented to her right there with the cameras rolling. And it's just sort of very complacent and almost dismissive, and there's some sort of expectation or entitlement in there as well. So, she had obviously had a son for them already. Why would she not do it for them again so that they could have a sibling? What's the problem?
I see. I just remembered right now, and I might be mistaken, but this was a storyline on Friends, wasn't it? Phoebe got pregnant for
her brother. Yeah.
Bit different maybe, but...
Well, not in terms of the risks and the sort of level, the sort of intricacies of the arrangements and the things that are involved. So in that storyline, obviously it's fiction, but she had triplets, so she would have had a multiples pregnancy, which is very risky. Obviously this wasn't portrayed in a sort of light-hearted comedy program, but it's incredibly risky to carry twins, triplets, etc. And when you are introducing in that storyline as well, it was her brother and his wife, who was his teacher, and she was an older lady. So whether, again, it's a storyline, but whether it would be her eggs or another woman's eggs, either way, these are donor eggs that are being used for a pregnancy, for a multiples pregnancy, and that carries risk. And it would be Phoebe in that storyline who carried that risk.
I see. She was the actress from that 70s show, the brother's wife.
Yeah, she was. I don't know her name.
She seemed much older in that 70s show, but she was older in Friends. That was the sort of the point. And I think you spoke to me before about the Kardashians. They're quite into this as well.
So Kim Kardashian has had 2 children born through surrogacy, and Khloe Kardashian has had 1. So that's more recent, Khloe's son. And she was, again, it was part of the sort of reality TV show. She was shown sort of showing some kind of concern that the surrogate mother might be able to terminate the pregnancy, and that she didn't realise that would be something that was possible, that this woman had some kind of body autonomy over this situation. And then when the child was born, she went to the hospital, and afterwards she spoke about how transactional, like it was in nature, with her sort of in the next room on a hospital bed, having not given birth or received any medical treatment and not being patient.
Why is she on a hospital bed?
I don't know, to lie down more comfortably. I mean, that's quite a trend.
What?
It's quite a trend. You'll see men lying on a bed, holding a baby that as if they've just given birth, but obviously they haven't.
I'll do that. I'm accused all the time by my wife of sort of getting phantom symptoms.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if it's her time of the month or whatever it might be, I'm also a bit like, gosh, I don't feel.
So you may be seen in the future bare-chested with a baby on your chest, having recently given birth. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That chest thing, is there any science behind that? They say that.
So there's different ideas about it, but basically there is this idea skin to skin. However, it's been researched and looked at that when you do it, it's really only with the mother that baby benefits from skin to skin. So obviously a child is born, it's often given to the father, or the other, other people in the room, the other partner, and it's sort of like, the man might be open-chested or with that topless, with a baby on his chest, as if to calm the baby, but they don't recognise that person. They may know the voice if they've been around in pregnancy, but generally speaking, it would be the baby only knows their mother. So obviously if they're on their mother's chest and they're hearing the heartbeat, that's the heartbeat that they've heard in utero. And there's actually some videos that I've seen where in parts of Africa, the baby will essentially crawl up the mother's stomach using their feet to push and get up to breastfeed. And it's because of amniotic fluid and the smell. And, it's like, there's like nature, it's a natural response. Yeah.
I do that with my dog sometimes. I've got a puppy and only because I'm sometimes don't have a t-shirt on, and it made me think, oh God, one day, or maybe my wife said, oh, that'll be with a baby one day, or because we don't know about all of these things anyway. But then you think about where the dog's feet have been and all of that. And you don't really want that.
I mean, how they wash and stuff.
Yes, yeah, that is gross, actually.
I mean, when babies are born, they're covered in muck, and it's a pretty gory process. But maybe you wouldn't want to put them on your chest if you're wearing a white t-shirt. I don't know.
Yeah, there's that as well. And you can throw the white t-shirt away.
Yeah, sure.
But this is a subject I don't know very much about. So I want to, from my perspective, I'm looking at this and going, okay, well, these are. We have an issue where women, but just biologically, have to give birth. I mean, they don't have to, but it's this whole thing, and it's really difficult and grueling and hard, but lovely and wonderful as well, I'm sure.
Sure.
Men don't have to have that, and so men get to advance in their careers, and women do not. So I suppose that is the argument. Like, how is this fair? And is surrogacy not a way to create, at least with that, some more fairness between the sexes?
Well, it's not the male sex who are surrogate mothers.
No. So
they're women, and they would be used, quote unquote, for that purpose. So it's because of that. There is a difference between the sexes, as you say, because it's only women who give birth. So in order for some people to have a family, they consider this their natural route. Maybe it's through infertility problems or the inconvenience of pregnancy as well. I mean, that's been a possibility in several sort of celebrity surrogacy arrangements, as we've discussed. So, for example, Priya Chopra and Nick Jonas, they spoke about having busy schedules and not being able to conceive. And, you might think if you're quite busy to schedule sexual relations with your other half, you might be a bit busy in order to raise a child. So I think actually Priya Chopra has taken a year off work or some time off work. But there's basically, it can be seen as an inconvenience. And so you then outsource it to somebody else. And so with that, you outsource the risks. And it's always women who bear those risks.